Hello and welcome, guys. Today we continue talking about emotional assumptions, assumptions about emotions. I remind you, in the previous video we discussed it, that during our emotional socialization we form certain ideas about emotions, and these ideas, beliefs, assumptions, they later on in life kind of influence how we regulate our emotions, how we behave on emotions, and so on and so on. In the previous video, we talked about meaning of emotions and validation. So if curious, please check out the playlist about emotions and previous video. But today we're going to talk about duration of emotions, ideas about duration of emotions. Before we start, I remind you that your biggest thank you to me can be sharing this video, leaving a comment and all that, because then YouTube will know that it's worth watching, and I really hope for that. So let's begin. Duration of emotions. Normally we have several different ideas about duration. Some people have ideas that emotions are very short-lived and very like short-timed. So you kind of feel the emotion, then it disappears and you go on. But other people might think that emotions are very long, that emotions, basically, if I feel sad, I will feel sad for a very long time. Or this idea that if I feel sad today, then today is lost, I will start over tomorrow. This idea that emotion takes a lot of time. This is ideas about duration of emotion. In reality, emotions almost never last long unless you think them. What I mean by thinking your emotions, it's when instead of feeling your emotion, you start thinking about it and thinking about the situation that caused the emotion. And this starts this mental spinning of different ideas in your head. And in this way, you're not letting yourself to just feel the emotion and let go. Instead, you return into this emotion again and again and again and again. And this can last for days or even years. So yes, normally if you are not doing that, if you're not spinning different thoughts in your head, then emotion should last like really short time, really short time. If you just let yourself concentrate how it feels, focus on your body, where it feels, and let yourself feel it, you will notice that emotion disappears faster. Yes. Then first step today that we're gonna take, please write a list of emotions in your life that last long and emotions in your life that last shortly. This is very important. Like, for example, if you feel ashamed, it's gonna stay with you for several weeks. But if you felt curious, it will disappear shortly after the situation when you felt curious. So please make a list of those emotions that stay alone with you and those emotions that stay for a short time with you. Next, what you're gonna do, yes, make a pause and write it down and then return to me. Next, what you're gonna do is check why, basically. What's the difference between these emotions? What is it that you do differently with these emotions that their duration is so different? I made you one example how it can look like. For example, you're thinking a lot, and this way you're extending the emotion. This is one possible example why certain emotions feel longer. Um, yes, another example could be that, for example, certain emotions make you behave differently, and this way they extend for a longer time. Like, for example, if you're feeling happy and joyful, you don't change much about your day schedule and so on. So this happy and joyful feeling, you notice it and then it's gone in some time. However, if you feel upset and miserable, then you change something in your behavior. Like, for example, you go and cry about it to someone. You then have some kind of treat for yourself. You decide that, oh, today is lost, I will start over on Monday with my happy life, and today I'm gonna just be sad all day, or something like that. And maybe you are just, if you're feeling tired and sad and miserable, maybe you cancel your plans and just stay at home all day, and this way you're extending your emotions. So first way to extend emotion is through your thinking, second through your behavior. So pay attention, what are you doing differently? Why, for example, happy feelings last for such a short time and miserable feelings last much longer? Maybe it's also that um, during your day, going from thing to thing, you have this habit of reminding yourself about some negative situations, and this way bring up those emotions. But many people don't have this habit of reminding yourself of good situations. So this is interesting, and this way you can see that actually mostly it's not that emotion is very long or very kind of like occupying lots of your time. In reality, it's oftentimes how you react to this emotion, how you self-regulate about this emotion, what you think when you have this emotion that extends the painful experience for you. If you were to just feel the emotion and that's it, oftentimes it would take you, well, maximum like half an hour, maybe a bit more. How to feel emotion. You just focus on how it feels in your body. You just pay mindful attention to it, and don't try to do anything with it. Don't try to fight it. Just tell yourself that, yes, I feel this way, and just be with it for a while. And then it's gonna disappear. It's gonna kind of, it's like a muscle pain or something. When you hit yourself, you have small pain, and then when you pay attention and just massage it a little, then it's gone in some time. So, but I will talk more about how to react to emotions properly in other videos and later. In this video, what I want you to understand is to analyze what it is that you think, what it is that you do, what it is in your reaction to emotions that makes them feel longer or be longer, and what it is that makes them be short. And this is very important because once you analyze it, you can basically choose what to do about different emotions. Like if you feel very sad and miserable, you can use things that make emotion feel shorter. And when you feel very happy, you can use those things that made your emotions feel longer, like changing something in your day to celebrate that you feel happy and wonderful, like sharing this happiness and wonderfulness with others, like listening to some wonderful music, and then later on every day remind yourself that you felt happy on that particular day. If you were doing this, your happiness would extend much more. um, Anyway, what we gonna do next? So please pause, make this task, make like self-analysis, and then return. Uh, Next, what we're gonna do is change some of your behaviors and ideas. Mm, First of all, it's important to understand that changing your ideas about duration of emotions is maybe the key factor to having good emotional regulation and to having good tolerance for emotional discomfort. Because if you think that something gonna last forever, you're gonna react in a very different way than if you think that this thing is going to last a little and then go away. And this is, by the way, where some addictions come from, because people face emotions, and if they have this assumption that emotion is gonna last forever and not gonna disappear on its own, they might use alcohol, food, or other addictive behavior to relieve that emotion. While in reality, if they didn't do anything and just concentrated on how they feel and that's it, they might relieve it faster. So it's very, very important. So, first of all, what we can do is develop this mindfulness position, this position of um, kind of just observing your emotions from a bit detached position from them. Like when you find where it feels like, what it feels like in your body and where it feels like, just focus on how it feels and don't think about anything, don't try to rush yourself, just focus how it feels and pay attention to what it feels like. Don't make yourself to name it. Don't make yourself name it. Like you don't have to say that I specifically feel this in this particular part of the body in this way. It's useful sometimes. Sometimes it's just nice to just notice it, to just be mindful of it. It's important to understand that emotions on their own are very fluid. They are like weather, they are like currents of water. And instead of trying to fight with them, as we discussed, you can also think of emotions as if they are like waves on the ocean, let's say, and you're just sitting and watching them. One wave come and go, then another wave come and go. And emotions do the same way. If we don't try to think about them, behave in a weird ways, and so on, emotions will just come and go like waves. Um, Another example is that emotions are like clouds and they float in the sky, and you're just watching them. You're just watching them, you're just observing them. And this kind of mindfulness exercises are really, really important to increase your tolerance for emotions, to help you not get in some addictive behaviors when you feel emotional, to help you remain in control when your emotions take over. So this is the first thing that you can practice. First of all, reminding yourself that emotions are fluid, that they don't stay long, they replace one another. And oftentimes we have this idea that some emotion stays long, but in reality, if we pay actual mindful attention, we notice that even, let's say, you feel sad, but it's not staying the same sadness for a long time. Instead, you might have different variations: sad, lonely, tired, maybe hopeful a little, then maybe a bit sad again, maybe then hopeful and joyful, and you remembered something, and then feeling sad and sweet at the same time, sad and tender, and then you feel like melancholic but in a nice way. You know, emotions change, they are like waves, they are like water. So if you actually learn to pay this mindful attention, you will notice it. You will notice that it's not the same emotion staying and not going anywhere. Um, what also important to understand that emotions are like mm, hunger, like I don't know, like thirst, like like needs like this. Emotions signify that some of your need is not met. And many of us can tolerate hunger. Like, we are not scared that if I feel hungry right now, I will feel hungry forever. What is wrong with me that I feel hungry, and so on. Instead, we think that I feel hungry, it's normal, it's because I need to eat. I will go eat soon, and hunger will disappear. Same about emotions. You can think in the same way that I feel lonely right now because I miss company and companionship and friendship. This way I should meet my friends today, let's say, and this way I will feel different. Okay, so emotions are just like signal systems for some of your needs that are not met, and you don't have to meet all the needs. You don't have to meet them immediately, just like you can tolerate some hunger before you get to the place where you can eat. In the same way, you can tolerate some feelings of anxiety or sadness or disappointment or joy or other feelings. They're just the same. They are not different in power or magnitude or duration than usual hunger. So important to understand. And third idea that you need to let go of is this idea of perfect, clean, clear mind. Now, many of us have this idea that in our head we should have only like right thoughts, right feelings, and we need to have it sorted out in our head. And if we have some kind of motorcycles, and if we have some kind of painful ideas in our head, or some kind of wrong thoughts, we think that, oh no, it means I'm a bad person, what is wrong with me, it's wrong to think this way. But in reality, our internal mind life resembles much more uh, some kind of like busy city. You hear different ideas, you hear different sounds, there are different signals going on, and many actually of those ideas are not even your own. Oftentimes it's just something you heard somewhere and your brain is just remembering them. They do not have some moral importance or moral value or emotional value. They just come from different places. And this way it's oftentimes much more useful to just develop mindful position and understand that these ideas that happen in your head, those emotions that you're experiencing, they're not you, they do not control your life, they're just happening in your body, in your mind, and they are fluid, they are temporary. Yes. So, by the way, if you ever think something horrible, like you have bad ideas, bad thoughts, don't judge yourself. It's normal. Everybody has weird thoughts sometimes. What matters is if you actually believe in them, if you actually act a certain way, and so on. But having random, weird, immoral, or whatever thoughts is fine. Okay. So, next, what we can do mm, is also very important step. By the way, you can always pause the video, complete previous exercises, and so on. And those previous ideas, I recommend you writing down. This idea that emotions are flexible and fluid, first of all. Second, emotions are like hunger or thirst, same. And third, that emotions are like busy city. They don't have to be clean, they don't have to make sense, they don't have to always be logical or whatever. They can be weird, and that's fine. You can just observe them and notice them, and just be curious about it and look at them with open-mindedness. um, okay, next one, what is important is um, taking a look at any resistance you might have, or any like self-sabotage and so on. The idea is that when you're developing this mindfulness and ability to tolerate discomfort of emotions, it can feel scary at first, which is normal. We all might feel a little bit scared when we try new things. um, so it is important to how to say, to find your goals, values, dreams, something that motivates you to tolerate this discomfort. Like, for example, me recording my videos, I might feel different emotions about it. Like, something doesn't come out as I wanted, I might feel annoyed. Something looks not as good as I thought, I might feel upset. Maybe I don't have as much support in this from the viewers as I wanted, because I'm just starting. So I might feel a little bit lonely in this. Okay, but I am willing to tolerate all these emotions and to live through them, because I see big value in sharing information like this. I see big value in creating videos like this, and this is basically very motivational for me, like very motivated activity for me. So I'm willing to tolerate discomfort for these values. And this is same in many spheres in life. We are always gonna meet some discomfort if we do something. So the important thing is finding what you're willing to tolerate your discomfort for. So when you're trying to develop this mindfulness of emotions, this tolerance for emotions, this tolerance for discomfort, this ability to act in a new way, make a list of all the values, motivations, dreams that can help you, that can make you go through this pain and see it as something worth it. Like, for example, if you learn to tolerate your emotions and notice them, you will be a much better parent, let's say, or you would be a much better um, creator. Maybe you are writing something, maybe you are drawing something. And if you learn to tolerate your emotions that appear during the process of creation, you will feel, you will make it much, much better and more productive. If you understand and tolerate emotions, you will be much better at communication. You can achieve many dreams through this. So please find connections of these skills with your dreams and your goals. Um, okay, what can happen also that can stop you is first of all, you might think that what I'm saying is like giving you false hope, and that in reality you are different from everyone, and particularly your emotions last forever. This sometimes happens. We can make such assumptions. Um, However, you can try those things without having some hopes up. You can try those things with just thinking that I'm gonna test it, I'm gonna experiment with it, and then I will see and decide. Um, then also what you might face is some kind of avoidance of discomfort, avoidance of facing your emotions. And here's no other way but to actually go through this. Going through this, you can do the same. You can just observe how you feel. You can just learn to be this mindful witness for your emotions, for your sensations, for your discomfort. And slowly they will go away because no emotions last forever. So if you feel avoidance, it's important to understand that yes, there is no other way but going through discomfort, and you should just find what motivates you to go through this discomfort. Um, then also what might happen is some people might think that if they are how to say, seeing emotions as temporary, seeing emotions as something fleeting, they are this way kind of invalidating them. And this often happens if you had this validation, lack of validation in your childhood, and this way you might think or feel that if you are staying in one emotion for a long time, you kind of giving it the attention that it was deserving. Like your parents didn't pay attention to your emotion, didn't stay with it, so you are trying to stay with it, to stay with your sadness, to stay with your loneliness. Of course, this can be solved in like individual therapy, but also what you can do is just understand that seeing emotions as fleeting and flexible does not mean that you are invalidating them as long as they last. It doesn't mean that they are less important. Something fleeting, on the other hand, can be argued to be more important than something that stays a long time. So being mindful, being attentive to something that is fleeting is maybe can be argued to be like better way, you know. So it's very important to understand that in no way this acceptance of flexibility of emotions, of them being fleeting and fluid, doesn't mean that you are invalidating them, that you are not paying attention to them, that you see them as insignificant, and so on. What is also a common, let's say, like obstacle people face is that they try to say to themselves, yes, emotions are not lasting forever, I will try acting differently, and then they try doing like exposition exercises. I will have other videos about those, so I will leave a link if I don't forget. So many people will think like, oh, I did try to tolerate emotions, but in reality they just last and nothing will help. Oftentimes you come out to these conclusions because your assumptions are trying to fool you. They are trying to convince you that how you feel is the reality. Like, for example, you feel like it won't work and you are not giving it a try. Well, this is just you basically fooling yourself because you don't know if something will work or not just based on your feeling. And oftentimes we feel that something won't work, but it actually works. Like if you feel depressed and you have to eat, you have to go for a walk, you have to do all these stupid things for your mental health, you might feel like, oh, it's not gonna help, I feel so miserable. But when actually you do it, you're like, oh, actually it helps. I'm very sorry, but sometimes things that we do actually help us. Okay, so here as well, if you're trying to change, don't allow your mind to fool you. Don't allow it to convince you that that if you feel something not gonna work out, it's not gonna work out. Another way your mind can trick you is that it can try a little bit, it doesn't work, and then it gives up. Like, try a little bit of facing some difficult emotions, and then they last and don't disappear in the first 5 seconds, and your mind is like, ah, not working, not working. So pay attention to those. These are like self-sabotage behaviors sometimes. What else I wanted you to notice is that about emotions, we can also have different cognitive distortions. And particular cognitive distortions associated with this idea of duration of emotions is, for example, future telling. I have a separate video about different kind of cognitive distortions, cognitive mistakes. These are patterns in which our brain kind of analyzes our life in their own way, makes mistakes. So one possible mistake is future telling. And for example, future telling based on emotions will be like, I feel horrible today, I will feel horrible forever. Or I feel horrible right now, it means that the whole day is lost. The whole day I will feel horrible. Or that I feel sad now, it means I'm a sad person and I will always be sad and all that. So, sorry. Here it's important to know that oftentimes these things become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you decide that your whole day is lost, and this way you just focus on the bad things for the rest of your day. Or you decide that you're a sad person and you start noticing all the sad things and you actually start getting sad. Okay, so it's really important that if you feel some emotions, do not turn them in your thinking in some kind of future telling, in some kind of labeling of yourself or others. Emotions are just emotions. They happen to everyone. Everyone feels sad sometimes. And if you feel sad right now, if you feel lonely right now, it doesn't mean you will feel like this forever. It doesn't even mean that you have to give up on today. Because actually, having like a perfect day is a luxury that maybe is available to only very young people in a very good life, in very good life conditions. However, when you become more adult, when you have more responsibilities, when you have more things going on, when you have maybe some issues with your health and so on and so on, it's almost impossible to have one perfect day. And even if it does happen, it's like once per year. So we cannot afford basically discarding the whole day if we feel bad for, let's say, 1 hour or 2 hours during this day. So if you feel bad for 1 hour, in the next hour you can put on nice music, have a cup of tea, and just have great time. So don't let your emotions occupy your days. Okay. Next. Boom, 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 boom. Next, the idea is that if your emotion is intense, if your emotion is powerful, it's gonna last for a long time. Not true. Not true, not always connected. Sometimes slight emotions can last longer and powerful emotions can last shorter. Um, this I said. Next one is emotional thinking. It's when you think that your emotions reflect reality and reflect facts, and your how it feels reflects what it is. Like if you feel that emotion gonna last, you assume that it's gonna last. If you feel like you cannot tolerate it, you assume that you cannot tolerate it. Remind yourself that your feelings are not facts. Okay. And the next thing that is important to understand when we have this idea about duration of emotions, we can also have this idea that my emotion gonna last until I do something to stop it. So, for example, you feel upset and you don't let yourself to just be upset and stay with this feeling. Instead, you're trying to find a way to stop being upset. And this way, this idea is often backing up some kind of bad habits, addictions, coping strategies that are not really good for you. Like, for example, you have this idea that if I feel sad, I will feel sad forever unless I do something about it, unless I stop it. And you start, for example, overeating, or you start drinking alcohol, or you start having some kind of conflict because you have this idea that if you do something, the emotion will go. If you don't do something, the emotion will stay. Here I encourage you to do experiments to do it in opposite way. Like instead of acting, try to just observe. Instead of trying to make your emotion go away, try to just stay with it. And I promise, like in most cases, emotions just go away if you are patient with them, if you do not try to fix them, if you do not try to force yourself to feel a different way, if you just do some self-validation, telling to yourself, yes, I feel like this, it makes sense given my current circumstances that I feel like that, and I accept this feeling, and you pay attention mindfully to how it feels in your body, how it feels for you emotionally, and then just stay with it and observe how it changes. It's gonna change. It's gonna change. Um, what is also important is this idea that if you have one lasting emotion, no other emotions can appear. Like this kind of idea that you only have one emotion at once. Well, in reality, you can have different emotions and they can all be of different duration. So, no reason to worry about this, okay? So, more or less, that's it. What I also encourage you to do, next exercise for this duration of emotions, I recommend you starting a diary, and in this diary or in an app, an application on your phone, you can track your emotions and also track your activities. Like, for example, if I do this, I feel this way. If I do that, I feel that way. If that situation happened, I feel this way. And then also track how long your emotions last if you actually just stay mindful of them. Like, make this experiment. Don't do anything, don't think anything. If you feel something, just stay with it, just feel it, just feel it in your body, stay with it, and put a timer or put a, like a stopwatch, and track the time, and then write it in your diary how long your emotions last this way. What it's gonna give you, first of all, you can see the evidence that emotions actually not as long lasting as you thought. Secondly, you might see that emotions depend much more on what you do, on your activities, and also on what you think. You can also note down your thoughts, um, than just on their own. So you can see that emotions last because you do some things, or you don't do some things because you think something. Okay. um, Next, what you can do, next exercise, is making a list of your past emotions that disappeared and why they did. It's like searching for exceptions. Like you think that I feel sad, I will feel sad forever. Think about your past. When was this occasion that you felt sad, but it was short, and then you felt better? And find in what way you can maybe repeat this experience now. But well, it's a lot of information. I hope you manage. All of these can be your home task, but the general principle is like this. Emotions are fluid like water, they are like waves, they are like clouds, they come and go, they are not something scary, and they don't last long. If emotions last long, it means that you are doing something or thinking something to make them last long. um, or there can be like biological reasons or other reasons, okay? So it's not just out of the blue that emotion lasts so long. Also, emotions come and go, and what you need to do about emotions is not to behave in a certain way and not to think something. You need to just be mindful of them and concentrate on how it feels in your body and just observe it. Don't try to do anything. Think of it as if you are sitting and looking at waves that come and go, come and go. Emotions are like hunger, they are like thirst, they're the same kind of experience, they just signify that some of your needs are not met, and you can just relate to them and tolerate them in the same way that you tolerate hunger or thirst. Next, what is important, that your emotions are not supposed to be clean and tidy and reasonable all the time. They are like busy city, and it's fine if you have many emotions. They are contradicting. Some of them are lasting longer, some of them are shorter, and so on and so on. It's fine. Um, yes, all these I noticed. And what you're gonna do about it is, first of all, making this diary of tracking your thoughts and your activities and how your emotions change because of those. And secondly, when you actually feel something, try not to think, try not to act. Instead, just pay attention. What am I feeling like right now? And try to observe your state. Just calmly, patiently observe it. Don't try to do anything, and write it down in your diary, what you feel, how it feels, and so on and so on. Yes, and the last thing is that accepting, tolerating your emotions entails some kind of discomfort. So you need to find right motivation for yourself. You need to have it, to see this as meaningful to achieve your dreams, to achieve your values, and so on and so on. So, for example, if you're unmotivated of trying to tolerate your emotions when it comes to, I don't know, a relationship with your teacher, it's fine. Find something that motivates you. Like, for example, you really, really want to write your own book, but for this, you need to tolerate many difficult emotions, like annoyance, like discomfort, like dissatisfaction, like maybe feeling like tired or sad, and so on. But the idea of writing a book is your dream, so for this you are able to tolerate all this discomfort. So always find the right motivation for yourself to tolerate things, because actually you don't have to tolerate things if you don't see meaning in tolerating them. Yeah, here we finished, and I remind you that I will be very happy if you share this video with your friends, with your family, because I believe it's very useful. And I will also leave links to other videos and leave list of those exercises and time code in description of this video, so feel free to return to it if you forget some exercises. And I recommend you take about 2 weeks on those exercises and do them all, if this duration thing is really something that is alive in your thinking. If, however, you already thought your emotions to be short-lived, you can just choose several exercises and not do the others, and then 1 week should be enough. And I see you next time. If you have any questions, please write them down. And if you notice something during your observation of your emotions, Please also write in the comments. I will be so happy to read, because everyone is unique and I'm very interested in your unique experience. And I see you in the next video. Bye bye.